So here's the toolbox. Looks good. Very good color combination. Gunmetal grey, premium paint, anodized orange. I will. This is an honest review, a very honest review. I'm a genuine customer. I've always been into my Snap-on tools. I've got multiple Snap-on toolboxes. This is my first Epiq, but I have had dramas with it, and I figured I would do an honest review. When I was looking through toolboxes or looking, to find a review on these kind of boxes before I bought it, I struggled to find any good information or an honest review. So here it is. Here's one that I'm sending, at least of my experience of owning one, and obviously getting one brand new from Snap-on. Now, obviously being in Australia, I've had to wait 4 months to get this toolbox from order date, being shipped over, which is fine. It's one of those where the 4 months went quite a while, but it was worth it, or at least you'd think it would be worth it when it got here. So these things can't be helped. You're getting it from another country. It's coming over on a ship. It's a heavy toolbox. You're talking half a ton, or for the Americans, it's about 1,200 pounds. Huge, 68-inch wide, 30 inches deep. Loads of drawer space. Absolutely perfect for somebody that wants to have their tools neat. Now, I've been in my Heritage Series toolboxes, and all my tools generally ended up getting stacked on top of each other. Whereas now with the Epiq, there's a lot of room to space things out, make things look neat, make things tidy. Instantly see which spanners aren't there, instantly see which sockets aren't there. So that's good. The other thing as well is, I am wanting to expand onto this and have even more larger drawers with an 84 and work center and everything like that. And like I said, all those bolted together, they're going to look amazing. But like I said, there are pros, there are cons, and unfortunately, and obviously listen to the rest of this and you'll find out exactly why, the cons outweigh the pros, which is very, very, very disheartening, unfortunate, because you're left thinking, well, if this is the best box you can possibly get, there's a lot of room for improvement in terms of quality and finish. So the drawers and the way everything's so smooth and it's perfect. Plenty of space, absolutely loads of space. Now, I've had to take all my tools out, and you'll see why, or hear why, at the end of the video. In terms of space, she's amazing. So much room to work. Drawer slides are strong. They're not anywhere near as flimsy as, especially some of the new Chinese Heritage Series boxes. Like I said, one of my oldest Heritage Series boxes is a Canadian built one, and it's a lot better than some of the new Chinese Heritage Series toolboxes. Quality wise, I don't know what Snap-on are playing at, but I think if I'm buying Snap-on, I'm buying it for the quality. Why they've gone and started making these things cheaper, obviously to get into the market with some of the cheaper, or people that want cheaper toolboxes. Well, unfortunately, yes, you're buying a cheaper Snap-on toolbox, but you're not getting proper Snap-on quality buying one of those Chinese toolboxes. Save yourself money. Don't buy them. I can't see why you would spend the money on another Chinese toolbox. If you're going to buy Chinese, you may as well buy a cheap brand. Don't buy Snap-on. As AVE would say, it's all Chinesium. So this was my purchase, the $24,000 RRP Epiq Toolbox, Epiq Headache, whatever you want to call it. this is what it turned up like new. I've got scratches in there, dents, imperfections in the paint. The paint's not been set properly, or too humid in the booth or something. You've got a lot of orange peel on the paint. Little dings and dents in the anodized aluminium trims, and bits of paint that have been missed. Bits of overspray. We've got black paint inside the drawers where it should be grey. We've got bits of grey inside the drawers that haven't been covered by the lacquer that I've paid extra for. Overall, quite disappointed. So going into the top drawer, hard to pick up on the camera. See there, imperfections in the paint. And there's a hairline scratch that you can just make out. It's hard to catch on the camera. Just on the anodized trim, the whole length. There we go, the whole length of that. Onto the second drawer. Very close to the tape, you can see two dimples in the paint where there's overspray that has run down on the lacquer. Quite hard to get up on the camera, but stands out like a sore thumb as soon as you've seen it. And then lastly on this drawer, if you've got an Epiq and you're missing some black paint, I've got it. Give me a shout. Onto the rest of the drawers. Every single bit of tape is where there's a scratch or something inside underneath the lacquer. So again, really quite hard to put in some lights. Scratch across there. Scratches across that corner. Tooling marks across that drawer, underneath the lacquer. Scratches underneath the lacquer on that. Deep scratches on those. More scratches. Chip in the anodized. More scratches. More imperfections in the paint. Knocks and marks on the anodized there. Likewise on that corner trim. Over to the handle. And you've got that there. The whole handle, to be fair, I'd imagine in chrome it probably is a much better finish. But when you get it as part of the blackout kit, all the tooling marks that you can see where it hasn't been finished properly. And remember, I mean, I might be being picky. Some people will think I'm being ridiculous. But you've got to remember, in Australia, we're paying, the retail on this toolbox is $24,000. The set price I think I ended up paying was just shy of $17,000. So $17,000. I know it's something that's holding tools. I'm fully aware that I'm going to put scratches into it down the track. This is a box I want to keep for a long time. I'm going to put scratches into it, but that's besides the point. I don't expect to see the scratches in there before I've got my hands on it. Then after you look at all the scratches and dents and things, the whole paint job itself is full of orange peel. Now, I've paid additional for this box to have the gunmetal grey, which is a premium paint colour with lacquer over the top. I was told by the salesman that the paint would be a finish like a car, like car paint would be, with the lacquer over the top. Smooth as a baby's bum, basically. It's not. Again, it's not. And in certain lights it hits you worse than others. It's, again, quite hard to show you in the camera, but I'll do my best. You can see it more so There you go. Like I said, certain lights you see it a lot more than in others. Now, obviously that's reflecting on those edge pieces, on every single drawer. You can see it. And I mean, even from a distance, I'm actually quite surprised how well the camera's picking that up. But even from a distance, you can see how orange peely, it's like a brass finish. How is that premium, guys? How on earth did this Toolbox pass quality control? I have got no idea. I've waited 4 months for this to come from America. And I'm gobsmacked. I'm dumbfounded as to how this has made it to me. It doesn't scream quality, guys. One thing I will say, the body of the box is in a much better condition than the drawers in terms of the orange peel. It's still there, you can still see it quite clearly, again, better with the eye than with the camera. But it isn't as bad. The drawers are a lot worse. And if everything was matched and I wanted a gunmetal grey brass hammered finish look, then I mean it would look perfect. But it wasn't what I was sold. I was sold a nice car-like finish. I'm paying an extra $2,000 for a car-like finish, and I don't see it. If this come out on your BMW, and I know it's not a car, but if this come out on a BMW, you probably go to jail for the response. Anyway, back to the body. So again, quite hard to show you in the light, but on the reflection you can see how bad it is. Again, nowhere near as bad as the drawers. Try and go for a bit of a close up. I'm no YouTuber, guys, you know what I mean? I'm just a genuine... I've been Snap-on through and through. Ever since my apprenticeship, I've always been a Snap-on person. And I've always wanted one of these boxes, and I've never been so disappointed with a purchase, ever. Again, I mean, just looking at my reflection, this is a clean box. There's no dirt on this. This is brand new. And what is going on? And while we're on this corner, Snap-on, if you get around to watching this, what are these covers? Like, all this money on a box, and that's the best fit you can do. I'm sure that's not the case. Okay, so going away from the paint now, I think I've discussed how terrible the paint is, and probably the worst choice I've made. It was, to be honest, it was between this and Storm Grey, and I'm kind of wondering whether the Storm Grey would have been a lot better. You know, whether there's more human factor into this being a premium paint colour. And when I say human factor, obviously one that didn't care about the quality of his work, because it's just, it doesn't scream out quality, like I keep saying. But going away from that, little things as well, and again, being picky, some of you are going to think, well, it's a Toolbox, but whatever. To me, that panel there, and again, try and get some light on the situation. Now I'm perfectly parallel with the top of the box. Yet the top of the box, or the column of the box, isn't perfectly parallel with me. Again, what's going on? Talking about not being parallel or anything like that, one thing I probably would say is look at the gap between the lid at the top, the what do they call it, bed liner top there, the gap. We'll make our way over, and there. So there we have a very well bowed bed liner top. Now, in terms of the bed liner, like this stuff, great. I was quite apprehensive about getting that, and I must admit it looks the goods. It seems to be quite hard wearing. it can be quite hard to keep clean, but I imagine it would be a lot better in the long run than your stainless steel tops that are going to get scratched to pieces. So again, I've bought this with the intention of keeping it nice. It is a toolbox, but at the same time, it's not a showpiece. It's definitely not a showpiece in the way it is, but I'm aware that I'm not looking for a piece of art. I'm looking for something fully functional. Yet, if you're paying the extra for the paint, I can't see as I've got the extra that I need for the money that I've handed over. So, yeah. Again, like I say, some of you will probably disagree, but again, showing there, quite hard to see again in the camera, but you can clearly see there is a smaller gap in the middle on the back where the bed liner is to where the two corners are, and it is definitely bowed in the middle. Right, going back into that second long drawer down. Now, again, this is the one that we've got the black paint overspray. I've got somebody else's toolbox as part of mine, so buy one get 1% of one for free, I suppose. But what surprised me is the coverage, both of the base paint and the lacquer. And this is on every drawer. Some drawers are worse than others, but I don't think there's a single drawer that again has got 100% coverage. Again, you might look at this as being quite picky. But again, I'm looking at it as well. It's a $24,000 toolbox. I pretty much deserve what I pay for. I wouldn't accept this if it was on a BMW or something. Again, quite hard to show. I don't know if it's going to be better with or without the torch. Oh, there we go. So you can see across the whole front of that drawer. I'm going to try and follow it across. It hasn't been painted, so rust issues down the track. In every corner of every drawer, there is paint, or no paint, should I say. And the other thing as well is, obviously, everywhere that's at the front, on front faces, the lacquer is nice and smooth. There's a good amount of lacquer on here, which is fine. But when you start looking at some of the sides, and on the back side, just a little bit of laziness with their painting. It hasn't got coverage, and you not just see the orange peel, but you can actually feel it. Okay, so when I first got the toolbox, the first thing that made me start looking for any faults was the fact that the second drawer down, the long drawer, didn't actually shut. Again, how on earth did this pass quality control? It wasn't an issue through shipping. The crate, when it arrived in, was perfect. No damage to the crate or anything like that. I didn't have to unpack anything. My dealer came out and unpacked everything, made sure everything was all good, and he found all these discoveries with me and was embarrassed, should I say, as to how many defects there were with it, bearing in mind we anticipated this toolbox coming with the premium paint and the blackout kit. It was something we were both excited to open, and it soon became a nightmare. So what had actually happened was, on the drawer runner on the right hand side, probably quite hard to show you, give me 2 seconds. Again, I'm by no means a professional YouTuber, so you'll have to bear with me, but this is an honest review. This is my experience having bought one of these that I'm now told is being returned to Snap-on, and by the sounds of it, they don't want to deal with me again. So those bump stops at the back, or the bump stop at the back at the bottom, was actually bent and obstructing the drawer from shutting properly. But again, how that passed quality control, you had to really force and slam the drawer in for it to actually shut, and even when it did fully shut, it wasn't held in properly. You could see that there was something not right with it, yet they allowed it to travel from America to Australia knowing that somebody's obviously going to complain. Somebody didn't care about their job that day. So, in conclusion, Toolbox. Pros, yeah, there's plenty of pros. The quality of the way it's been put together is a very big pro. The size compared to a heritage series or a classic, or like, there's no comparison. Size wise, this thing is amazing. Absolutely love the space that it gave me in the short time that I've used it. In terms of the paint, the finish, the quality, again from a distance, looks amazing. Get close, yeah, nah, not worth the money at all. I'm now left wondering what to do. After back and forth with Snap-on Australia, and then eventually, because of how long everything was taking and what was said to me about the Toolbox, and the fact that apparently this is normal, I ended up sending an email to Snap-on Corporate. Snap-on Corporate, I believe, are now in damage limitation mode, and have basically want to pick up the Toolbox as quick as possible and get it out of here and give me a refund. A lot of people will say, great, awesome, you got the refund, perfect. That's not my opinion. I actually really like this box. I really want it, and I'm very torn. Again, spacing and everything like that, it looks amazing. But, like I said, in terms of the quality of the finish, it's really disheartening, and it's a letdown, a huge letdown. I'm torn. I'm very torn. Like I said earlier, I think had I gone for the Storm Grey, I don't know if I'd been in the same issues. It'd be interesting to see what some of the other Epiq owners have come across, whether they've sort of had the same issues, whether it's a case of, yeah, you're in Australia, we'll send you out the rubbish. Who knows? I honestly don't know. I'd love to have everyone else's opinions on the quality and the finish. Am I being picky? Again, like I said, they're expensive toolboxes. It's not a KRA, a Heritage Series, cheap. I must admit, I've got a 15-year-old Canadian-built Heritage Series toolbox that I've loved, and I've now had to put all my tools back into that. Fortunately, they wanted to trade it in, and because it's limited edition from the UK that you can't get simply anymore, or especially in Australia, the limited editions they do over here are rubbish plaques compared to what they do in Australia. So I'm glad I held on to it, because now this is going back. Had I have traded it in and it been sold straight away, I wouldn't have got that back either, so that would have complicated things. I've told Snap-on that this is obviously the 68-inch. I've told Snap-on the intention, before I even bought this, the intention was to get a 68 and 84, a work centre for the 84, a top box for the 68, and 2 side cabs. So that was the intention. I've actually got an 84 being shipped over as we speak, and I've cancelled that because I've now been told the paint on that was going to be pretty much the same as the paint on this. So I've pulled the pin on the lot, just to reevaluate and see what to do. The way I look at it is, if I'm going to be buying a brand new toolbox with defective paint, I may as well buy a second-hand toolbox that's got scratches. There's this, what's the difference? There is no difference. They didn't want to reduce the cost for the poor quality. They don't want to reduce the value of the brand by reducing the cost, and my opinion of that is they're reducing the value of the brand by handing out such terrible, shoddy paintwork. I can't believe they've gone to all the effort of making this toolbox, making it the way they have, with the quality, the drawers, the way that they close, the way that everything shuts, the thunk. It's like the Volkswagen door thunk. It's one of those that you hear somebody go into your drawer to pick out a tool from the other side of the workshop, and you know that they've gone in your drawer. They know that they've gone in your drawer because you can hear that thunk. That's yeah, it's good. You know, there is a lot of pros to the way that the box has been put together. Cosmetically, nah, not at all. So that's my review of my Snap-on Epiq Headache. I've had this toolbox in my possession now for 2 months, and I've got to hand it back and get a refund. As I said, very, very bitter sweet. Yes, I'm getting my refund, but I'm not getting a replacement because they supposedly can't do one in the finish that they initially promised me, which is very disheartening. It's been nice having it and working from it for the last months. I've had it too. I had it sitting there for a month doing nothing. At that point, someone from Snap-on had told me just to use it in the meantime until the decision's made, and yeah, the decision's now been made, and that's it. I've been hanging there for that long, and I've got used to using it, and pretty gutted now having to go back to the my Heritage box. A little bit of a downgrade, but at least the paint's better on my Heritage box than it is on this Epiq. I would be very interested to hear from anybody that's obviously had experience with the Epiq boxes. Is this acceptable? Is this a normal paint finish? If it is a normal paint finish, then yeah, I don't want one. Are Snap-on Australia being by saying obviously that they can't provide one, is that just protecting themselves because obviously the expense and the fact that they're completely custom? They don't want to have another go at trying to get one sorted out for me, or I don't know what's going on. But like I say, I'll be very interested to hear your opinions. Am I right to be, upset the fact that the quality that I've got? Would you accept the quality that I've got, having seen the video? Are you in the market for buying an Epiq, and has this video put you off? Yeah, definitely very interested to hear other people's opinions. Everybody that has come into the workshop and has seen it, that has got close to it, has mentioned that they wouldn't be happy with the paintwork, and that's for people from all walks of life, all other mechanics, people that aren't in the field, that have as soon as you tell them how expensive the toolbox are, have said that they wouldn't accept that paint job for that price. So yeah, we'll package it up and let Snap-on come and pick it up and do with it what they will. Who knows what they're going to do with it? I can't see as they're going to have the ability to sell it on as a new toolbox. If they're willing to sell it on as a second-hand toolbox, then they can let me know, and I'd probably buy it for a second-hand toolbox price. But with the paint the way it is, it's definitely not worth full new price. I would much rather actually at this point probably buy a new one in Storm Grey. Likewise, if they would let this one go cheaper, then I would get all the paint rectified and start again with the paintwork and go full custom. But obviously, that's gonna cost a fair bit of money to do, and you'd be stupid to do that having paid full price for the box. So we shall see what happens. We'll watch this space and see if we hear any more from Snap-on. I'm not holding my breath. I don't think that I am going to hear any more back from them. Like I say, do I buy any more tools from them? On principle, I kind of want to tell them where to go. Quality of their hand tools is good. My dealer is great. very, very helpful. Snap-on Corporate, yeah, I not so much. I'm not convinced that that they're into looking after their customers more than they are taking money from their customers. So yeah, let me know what you think.